What's up, Technoba here for Server.pro, and welcome to this tutorial for installing and using DeathWarden. DeathWarden is a super simple plugin for your Minecraft server that adds fancy effects when players die. You can also add custom death messages, PvP logging, keep inventory, XP, and more. To install the plugin, head over to your Server.pro dashboard, then open the plugins section and search for DeathWarden. Install the latest version that's compatible with your server and restart. Alternatively, you can download it from the Spigot page and upload it to your Server.pro panel. Keep in mind that you'll also need an economy plugin of your choice, which I'll be using, say in economy, a permissions plugin of your choice, such as Luck Perms, and finally Vault. To see what plugins you already have installed, visit the installed section under plugins. So to begin, the plugin only has a handful of commands. /DeathWarden is the plugin's main command, which will return a full list of commands that we can use. As you can see, we have /DeathWarden version, which will return the version of the plugin. Also seen up here, we have a help command, which does the same as just /DeathWarden. And like a couple of other plugins add, we have a /back command to get back to where we died. So currently I'm here. I'll simply use /kill to respawn, and after respawning, you can see I'm in a completely different location. If I simply run /back, I'll be taken back to my location of my last known death. It's super simple and a common command that comes with quite a few plugins, but nothing really fancy happened when we died. We have /deathCount to see how many times we've died since we've started playing on the server with this plugin. Of course, these commands don't really do much. Let's get into the real meat of this plugin. By running /deathEffects. /deathEffects toggles death effects on and off. You can toggle it by simply running the command again. But to set effects, we can run /deathEffects /edit. As you can see, a GUI menu will be brought up, and inside of here we have a couple options. We have death sound effects, death particle effects, and a button to close the GUI. Let's start with a sound effect. You can choose from ambient cave, and we'll drop campfire crackle, chest opening, glass break, end portal frame fill, end portal spawn, ambient fire, portal travel, ambient portal, ender eye launch, generic hurt, enderman teleport, fox teleport, and player hurt. Let's go ahead and pick something interesting, like say the end portal spawn. After clicking it, we'll then have the end portal spawn sound effect added to when we die. So let's hit return in the bottom right, and let's pick a particle effect. Inside of here, we can choose from cloud, campfire smoke, crit, dragon breath, dripping honey, dripping lava, enchantment table, explosion normal, falling dust, firework spark, flame, heart, portal, redstone, and slime. Let's pick something interesting like say dragon breath. After choosing both of the effects, we can head back and close the menu. The next time that we die, these effects will be applied to us. Let's give it a shot. But what about when another player kills you? Well, there's some interesting things called play and kill taxes, where basic effects are applied to your character and commands are run if you don't have a specific amount of money in your in-game bank account. This of course is an optional feature that you can have or not have if you'd like an economic reason to punish or reward players for kills or deaths. These also apply to mob kills, but we'll see that later. Heading into our Minecraft server dashboard, simply head across to the Files section on the left-hand side, Plugins, followed by DeathWarden. Inside of here, we have multiple files, and what you'd usually be interested in is the config file, but before we get to the config, let's have a look at the log section at the very top. Let's go ahead and open up, say, pvpkills.yml. As you can see, player killed Techno by Vicky, player is up, flying, game mode, the weapon of choice, enchantments, and the location in the world. Then, if we have a look at total death logs, you'll see a log over here of how many players have died to what reason. But as you can see, these are all really NPCs and mobs, so you won't find player kills on this list over here. Instead, you'll find them under PvP kills. These are really just PvE kills. Heading back a folder, let's have a look at the user data folder over here. Inside of here, we have multiple player files, which are just players' UUIDs. Opening them up, we'll see a bit of info about them, such as death sound, death particles, as well as all of their PvE kills or deaths over here, as well as the last known death location. You can see for my Techno account over here that the last known death location has some data filled in here, as this player has actually died on the server. Let's head back another folder. Now that we're done with the logs, let's have a look at the config files. The main config file you'll usually play with is the config file over here. As with most good plugins, it is pretty well documented, with every single setting having some info above it talking about exactly what it does. Skipping through the obvious ones like toggling, PvP death logging, death counters, kill counters, death messages, death by player messages, death effects on login, death effects on restart, death penalty, and toggling the back command, which are all very simple toggles, let's have a look down here. We have death penalty effect, where we can define exactly what happens when a player dies and how long they'll have these debuffs for, or possibly even buffs if you'd like to help players after they respawn. And of course we have kill penalty effects over here, where we can set debuffs or buffs, which will get applied if the players don't have enough money to pay the death tax or the kill tax. Where do we define those? Well, simply right below, as death tax and kill tax. It can either be a percentage of their total money or an exact amount. Usually you'd want an exact amount, as a percentage can be a bit steep if you're a particularly rich player, unless of course you want to take from them when they die. To set the exact amount over here, you can enable this and set an amount right below, which is by default set to 10. If a player has more than 10 when they die or they kill someone, then they won't receive any of these negative or possibly positive effects that we define right above. Scrolling down even further, we have death commands over here to actually take the money from players. This one up here only requires them to have a certain balance above a certain amount, while this command over here actually takes the money from them. Of course, you can add multiple commands simply by adding a new line right below it. And for the other files, we have rewards.yml, where we can set nice rewards for players who get kills. We can toggle it at the very top and set limits if we'd like. Right below, we can define actual effects that are given when someone kills something. For killing certain mobs, we can toggle whether they receive a money reward between two random numbers, run a command when they get a mob kill, and possibly even give them a reward message in chat. Usually you'd only want this for higher ranking mobs, but of course every single mob in the game is listed here and ready for you to customize. Of course, if you like, you can enable or disable it at the very top over here. Having a look inside of messages.yml, inside of here we have a lot of localization for the plugin for all of the chat messages that it will give back to players. Anywhere from prefixes for all of the plugin's messages, all the way down to not having enough money to pay for kill tax, and all of the lines for getting killed by certain mobs down here. Something also quite nice is that all of these lines start with hash followed by 6 characters in hexadecimal, which is basically a hex code for a color, allowing you to set the exact color for the message that will show up in chat. And of course, as you can see in these messages, they're used in multiple places. Finally, let's have a look at death effect menus.yml, which is the configuration file for the GUI in the game. Inside of here, we have a list of all of the clickable items on the menu, as well as their position, their title, and of course their lore right below explaining what they do. There's not much that you can do here other than customizing the localization, i.e. changing it to better suit your server's language. And of course, you can actually change the items themselves to also suit your server's theme if you're going for a specific theme. Most of these, however, are somehow related to the sound that they create and toggle, so having them left as default is probably the best for your server. But anyways, that's about it for this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any video suggestions, leave them in the comments below. If you're having issues with anything, contact our support team. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao!